DestinyComics.com proudly presents the following podcast.
Alright, well, let's introduce ourselves.
From the right.
Oh, me, okay. Hi, I'm Aileen.
Full name.
Aileen Macias.
No.
Noel, sorry. Reflex.
Say it again.
I was never a member of the Nazi Party. Okay, sorry. Oh, you scared me. I forgot my name for a second. I'm Aileen Noel.
I'm Brandon Noel.
Congratulations.
Yes.
That's not my name, that's me being friendly. Michael Sanders. And you're at the table with Destiny.
Maylene and I just got married. That's why we took like a week off from the podcast. And then the next recording day landed on 4th of July, so we had to take an additional week off.
Yeah. But don't worry, our faithful listener.
You
We're
are
back.
still appreciated.
That's right.
We're back.
Woo!
By the way, quit egging my car.
Sorry, I didn't know that was your car.
Ah, crap, it was you.
Oh, no.
So, if you've never listened to At the Table with Destiny Comics, we're
Missing people.
Normally there is a bigger group of us, but we're also writers, editors, and we're all members of the Destiny Comics bullpen.
We all attribute to the main run of our company, which is 8-Bit Pulp.
Yeah, flagship title is 8-Bit Pulp. The first pulp magazine to be published in like 50 years in America.
Yep, it's true. And
It's because we all took a sabbatical to watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
and then 50 years.
That's right, yeah.
They're like, look, they got our kind of stories on TV now. We don't got to start.
We don't got to
publishing
keep
crap.
doing this now.
Now it's like, well, let's bring it back.
Well,
Who's working again? Oh. But, so welcome in. I just got to say one thing. If you picked this to be your first episode, why?
just so you know, we're too short of a combo plate. Just.
Oh, yeah. We're missing the beans and rice. Right
But
now.
the burrito's here, so that's good.
Who's the burrito?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I better be the burrito.
Be worried if I was. I always see myself as more of an enchilada type.
Does that make me the taco?
Yeah. We're not getting into that.
Yeah.
To save time and horrible, horrible thoughts in my head.
That's
You're
okay.
the pico de gallo.
I'm already getting thoughts I probably shouldn't have been getting because I was trying to be funny, and of course I'm with two guys who automatically have to take it there.
No, well, you never mind. I'm
Yeah.
gonna edit all that out. So, all right. One of the topics we wanted to discuss last time we didn't get to discussing.
Random strings coming out of your couch, apparently.
Not random.
Place it there.
But one of the topics we wanted to talk about last time we didn't get around to was alternate realities.
Well, first of all, let's get going let's get clear on alternate realities. What is your definite? What do you see as an alternate reality? What do you think?
Well, there's
What school of thought do you employ?
when I was taking a philosophy class in college years ago, they actually started talking about the multiverse.
He's old.
Yeah. And I was like flabbergasted because I already knew everything there was to know about the multiverse from DC Comics. Like, I was like, I read this in a comic book.
Yep.
Like, this is in a textbook. No, I have, Action Comics 70. Like, why, it's the same thing.
Should have brought it into the teacher.
I told them, I was like, is this where they,
This is in a comic book,
Yeah. And so the DC multiverse is, it's not as defined as it once was, but the idea is you have Earth 1, and then you have Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth 4, and the farther you get out, the more different things are from Earth 1.
Yeah, because Earth 1 is supposed to be the prime. It's almost it's string theory, but there's a prime.
Yeah, so like the DC multiverse was like, here's our Batman, Superman, and then Earth 2 was a way of telling what if stories, like what if this happened or what if that happened.
Okay. So it just shows like what if this turn happened. So it's basically the multiverse is basically the showing a differentiation of choices.
Yeah, and then they ultimately had to kill the multiverse, which then they brought back like 38 years later.
Yeah. It seems to be working out so far.
But like that's just one version of multiple realities. Like DC again, going back to comics, in the Vertigo Deadman run, they portrayed a completely different alternate reality. Like anytime the character died, he woke up in a different reality where he was like married to his sister-in-law instead of and it just got weirder and weirder as he was going through the different dimensions.
Yeah, different dimensions. Well, as different dimensions, some throw them into alternate timelines also as being their own dimension.
Yeah.
And being in that form of thought, I actually just got done listening to a audio cast about issues 13 and 14 of the JLA back in 1997, the Rock of Ages storyline, and it just showed how bad of a turn that things could have happened if Superman was allowed to destroy the Philosopher's Stone. And it got bad.
Yeah, well, it's like the new Justice League game that came out, Justice League Gods Among Us, Injustice or whatever. They had to set that in its own alternate reality because of just the content. Like DC said, you can't use our costumes because we don't want people confusing this with our comics.
Yeah, they don't want it. They don't want people thinking it's standard continuity.
Yeah. Which is smart, especially after playing the game. Like it's violent.
That's what I hear. I haven't had a chance to play. Hopefully after the podcast.
Yeah.
Get a couple rounds in before I go have dinner. It's real bad. But the interesting thing though, at the end of that arc is the Atom and Green Arrow are the ones that kill Darkseid.
I believe that. That's pretty cool.
It's really interesting. We'll lobotomize them.
Did you ever see a show, it was 90s, called Sliders?
Yeah, I loved that show.
That is probably one of the best science fiction...
Because they operated on, not string theory, but not the multiverse, but it was string theory they operated.
No, it was a multiverse, but there was like wormholes. Because string theory is literally like you have 3 dimensions, time, space, and I'm dumbing it down extremely, but you have like time, space, and mass, and they wrap and spin around each other.
Yeah.
The multiverse is literally like it's kind of like the way they explain it is like light, that when light hits a prism it breaks off into like all the different colors.
Yeah.
So like you have reality doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it hits a prism, and then in this world everything's red, in this world everything's yellow, like in scientific terms, in this world the dinosaurs still live, in this
certain things happen differently. Yeah.
I've always been a fan of the whole, depending on your choices, that spins off in a different universe thing. That's always been my favorite version of alternate realities.
Yeah, it's a version of the multiverse. It's you make your decision, and then all the other choices you could have made has spawned those different realities.
Yeah, so that's always been my favorite version of alternate realities, personally.
There was one. It's not really a scientific thing, but it was one that I actually seen in a game I played, where any universe can come into creation if you write about it. If you have an idea and you put it to paper, that universe exists.
I think the reason why I liked the whole, multiverse thing is just because it gives you an infinite amount of possibilities.
Yeah.
Even though I'm living this particular one, there's a version of me out there that's,
doing something else.
Doing completely different life, or even just my life, but slightly varied in some way. You got the whole spectrum, where it's like, you start off with me, then you go to the next me who is, almost identical, but something's different, and then you keep going and going and going until you get the me who is so radically different from the me that's in this universe.
And if you work your way through all those other me's, and it gets down to just you, you're all powerful because killing each one gives you more power.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Yep.
You've seen the one?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
It had a lot of potential. The storyline was carried weak though. I think that it felt like a thrown together movie.
It did
with a very strong concept.
My favorite part of that movie is a very brief scene where, because it's literally like you've seen the scene, the exact same scene in one universe, and then you're seeing the exact same scene in another universe.
Yeah.
And the major difference is because it was just after the Bush, when he was voted in office the second time.
Oh, after the second.
Kerry was the guy who's running.
Kerry was the second guy he ran against.
Yeah. So in one universe, literally on the TV, you saw Kerry as president, and then in the other universe, you saw Bush. I loved that. I thought that was so nice little touch. Now we've been watching Fringe, which really gets into alternate realities. Have you seen any of that?
I saw the first season. Yeah.
Season 2, literally one character is in the alternate dimension, and each episode is alternating between our reality and their reality.
Okay.
And it's telling two different stories, and I loved it. Anytime they flashed the alternate reality, it was like the Statue of Liberty was bronze.
Oh wow!
And they would
the Twin Towers are still standing.
Twin Towers still standing. There was I loved it. It's just such a geeky little touch. But there's one room when they're in this really nice presidential suite, and there are comic books in frames on the wall.
Oh, nice!
And I was just like, yes, like vindication in an alternate universe.
It's like it's not our universe, but it exists.
Yeah.
Oh, but getting back to Sliders, I did enjoy that show, and it was a very good representation of the multiverse.
It ran for 9 years too.
Oh, it was wonderful. I loved it. It was great. I can't remember his name. The guy that played Sala. That's the first thing I saw him in that wasn't Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're talking about John Rhys Davies?
Yes, John Rhys Davies. I can never remember his full name.
He played a professor in Sliders.
I can't say anything. The first thing I saw him in was Lord of the Rings. So.
Well, this is just my bad taste. But the first thing I saw him in was the Hulk Daredevil movie.
Oh, really?
Where he played the Kingpin.
Really?
Oh, it's horrible. Don't even smile. It's oh, that's a great idea. No, it's bad film because they put Daredevil, and at the time Daredevil in the comics had the all black costume.
Oh Lord!
So they dressed him up like a ninja minus the metal. And he just looks like a guy in pajamas. It doesn't even come off because it's still the Lou Ferrigno Hulk.
Oh.
It just doesn't work.
Ninja Hulk?
Yeah, well, yeah, because
Ninja Hulk.
Because it's
Hulk like the wind.
Because they did the series, and then they did 3 reunion films after the fact. They did the Hulk versus Thor, which that was supposed to be a pilot for a Thor TV show.
Really?
That never took off. And then, which that was actually really done. They put a lot of money into that one. Really well done. And then they did the Hulk on Trial, which is the Daredevil film. And then they did The Death of the Hulk, which actually ends the Lou Ferrigno series. Lou Ferrigno.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the other actor.
Does anyone remember the other actor?
No, a lot of people do because he was actually really well loved as.
Bruce Banner.
He wasn't Bruce Banner.
No,
he was Eric Banner.
Yeah, Eric Bruce Banner.
Eric Bruce Banner.
They made Bruce his middle name
because Bruce was seen to be too gay.
Yeah,
what?
Which is weird.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't name. They didn't want the Hulk to be named Bruce Banner because Bruce was
a gay name.
Apparently, the studio felt it was too associated with homosexuality.
Yeah. Apparently, during the time of the showing, a lot of homosexual men were named Bruce or changing their name to Bruce.
What?
Yeah, so Stan Lee, which sucks because Bruce Banner is, Stan Lee's known for those names where, the first name rhymes or kind of matches the second name. Alliteration, thank you. It's like Bruce Banner, Peter Parker, Scott Summers, Matt Murdock, like and
he was known for having names that had the first same letter.
well, the reason why Stanley admits is so I could if you remember the first name, he had a chance at remembering the last name.
Yeah.
Even back then, he couldn't really keep all his characters straight.
He's been coined having a steel trap of mind. I'm like, yeah, that he lost the key to.
He's got the mind like a steel sieve.
So I mean, it's just.
Yeah, he was also in. In The Name of the King at Dungeon Siege.
Yes.
Which I didn't know. The movie, I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. There were parts where it's like, what the hell? But I found out it was based on an old 8-bit video game.
Yeah, Dungeon.
It was called Dungeon Siege.
Dungeon Siege or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a horrible movie because it's done by that one director who did the Blood Rain movies.
Yeah, he's not known for. It's not that he's known for any movies. It's not that he's known for just shelling out shit.
Yeah, it's a shame because
the movie, that movie, and the Blood Rain series, those both had really great.
You know what? I will say, I think it's Blood Rain 2 or 3. It's actually not bad. Yeah. It's the Western one.
I believe that's 2.
So it's not bad. I haven't seen the third one with the Nazis. The Nazis!
The Nazis.
I didn't even know there was a war going on. Sorry.
Oh yeah. By the way, we're recording this on 7/11, which is the 7-Eleven gas station franchise's unofficial birthday. You can get a free 12-ounce Slurpee.
Yeah, we were thinking about going down.
I'm probably gonna do that if I decide to. But yeah, but the movie, I enjoyed it. It's just their choice, and but at the same time, they threw so many big name actors in there because they're like, this might be shit.
Oh yeah, Burt Reynolds,
which was a horrible choice. I mean, the whole time I'm watching that movie, I'm not thinking this is the King of Ebb. I'm thinking, why the fuck is the bandit wearing a crown?
Yeah, it's just it wasn't that. And the thing is, they did like a Name of the King 2.
Yeah, but it was like none of the original cast was
none of the
straight
original
to video.
Yeah, none of the original cast straight to video, and it's like Dolph Lundgren is the main character.
Yeah, it's like, where did you come from?
It's on my instant queue because I love Dolph Lundgren.
I thought he was great. I loved all his old movies. I remember, I forget which one it was, but it's a movie he did with Brandon Lee, and they're cops.
Oh, the only other movie Brandon Lee did.
Yeah, and it was the movie he did right before The Crow, of course. And they're sitting there, and they're both been trained martial arts since they're kids. And all of a sudden, Dolph Lundgren looks at him after he takes out these guys, and he goes, "How long have you been studying karate?" He goes, "Since." He goes, "How long have you been studying martial arts?" He goes, "Since I was 3." He goes, "That explains why your form is off."
Dolph Lundgren, though, I love him. We just watched The Expendables 2.
Yeah, I thought Dolph Lundgren was dead till he started doing the Expendables movies.
Oh no, I was following him on MySpace.
I thought he was dead.
No, he's a pretty cool dude. I actually found his real MySpace before.
This is going to be the one podcast Dolph Lundgren listens to. And he's like, what?
That's He-Man! He's He-Man!
A very painful He-Man. A very painful
He's still my favorite Punisher.
I
know Thomas Jane did an amazing job.
He's my second favorite. Thomas Jane's my number one.
Thomas Jane did.
Dolph Lundgren, if you do end up listening to this for any reason, please don't come to my house and kill me. Because you do look very dangerous.
That's Michael Sanders.
Dolph Lundgren is just...
I heard he's a nice guy.
I'm sure he is, there was photos when MySpace was big. I found him, and there was photos of him wearing sweatshirts with grandchildren and stuff. I was like, why are you not bench pressing your children? These children,
He starts bench pressing them. He's like this. He's like, hopefully they decide to make another movie with me.
I was actually disappointed Dolph Lundgren and Van Damme didn't have a fight scene in.
That would have been amazing.
In Expendables 2, because it's like that Universal Soldier. That's.
Oh man, that was great.
That's their franchise.
Oh yeah.
And I wish they had one little fight scene, because Van Damme is the villain.
He plays the villain.
In number 2.
I have not seen him play a good guy in a long time.
Well, I haven't seen him do anything in a long time.
Well, I hear he actually has a drinking problem.
Well, no, what it was he got AIDS.
Really?
He got AIDS, and he'd lost a lot of weight, and you watch him in Expendables, he's looking good.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he's
also,
on the
I didn't know
rebound.
about AIDS, but I heard he was an alcoholic.
No, I hadn't heard anything about alcohol.
Damn. Damn.
No.
But, he's another guy I always really liked Jean-Claude Van Damme. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
My favorite movie from him is Desert Heat.
Desert Heat.
That's such a great movie.
Which one was that one?
I think it's in Nevada or New Mexico or something. He goes to find one of his old friends, played by Johnny Trejo.
Mm.
Or Danny Trejo. So why call him Johnny? By Danny Trejo. He's coming to deliver it, but Danny Trejo's playing an old Indian guy instead of a Mexican, and he's coming to bring him an old Indian motorcycle. And like apparently these guys, they don't say they were military or just bad guys, but they'd done a lot of shit in their past. And he's going to give him the bike and then kill himself because he's had a really bad, all the bad things he did.
Really quick, I love how you say, I don't know if it was military or bad guys. Like, I love how you lump the two together somehow. Like, you don't, but you do.
It was the 80s, you know?
It was the early 90s, late 80s. But he's like in a drive over bed, and he's shooting off his 45 because he got drunk because the motorcycle broke down and he had nowhere to go. So these guys show up and they're like, "You almost killed us!" And they come to find out they're the bad guys of the town that he's going to, and they think they kill him, but his friend finds him and nurses him back to health. And the whole movie's about him getting the motorcycle back and dealing with these guys. And it's a great movie. Especially when the dad of the bad guys starts slapping around going, "What you gonna do, weenie boy? Weenie boy?"
Was his name Bruce?
Well, the moment I heard the dad calling the sons weenie boy, I was like, I can't watch this with my dad. I can't watch it. He'll start calling me that.
Weenie boy!
Well, because like the three boys, they're with their dad and they're coming back from Vegas, and he's like, "Why are you always harder on us than you are Petey?" He goes, because Petey was your mom and I's love child. He goes, "Well, what about us? You guys were recreational sex that wasn't too much fun." And there's like, oh shit. I was like, damn, you want that guy to die.
So, going back to alternate realities.
Oh yeah, that topic.
The old saying, no matter how bad your life gets, remember, in one universe or another, you're Batman.
You're Batman. What's your favorite alternate reality story?
Yeah, like in what context?
Any media, video games, cartoon. What's the one thing that is it the Sliders episode where they go, where the Nazis won? What?
I actually got a couple. Actually, one of them was an old Justice League episode from a few years back, where they come back from doing something with the Green Lanterns in outer space, and they get to Earth. They find out that it's Nazi. It's a Nazi world, because they come back and they find out that the whole timeline's been changed, and they were saved because of their ship, and they were sent into a dimension through the shifting timeline that made them and put into a world where Nazi Germany won.
Yeah,
because of Vandal Savage.
Vandal Savage became Hitler.
Yeah, and what's funny is at the end of that one when they stop it, also like, we must go back to our old thoughts, and then you see a frozen Hitler.
Yeah, like there's no explanation, just a frozen.
Like no reason why he's like, they don't say anything. You just see he's frozen. And the funny thing is, they zoom in on his face because they're like, he's naked in the ice. We can't let the kids see he's naked. But they zoom in on his face, and he just looks sad. He doesn't look mad or anything. He's like, you froze me, bro. I lost the other one, but the other one was. It'll come back to me like right at the end. And what about you, Brandon?
Me, the very last episode of Batman: Brave and the Bold. If you ever saw Brave and the Bold, they have like a minute to 2 minute opening that has nothing to do with the series. It's a cold opening. It drops them off like in the middle of an adventure.
Yeah.
They wrap it up and then opening credits.
Yeah, it's him closing out. It's like what they say. He's closing out a case and then starting a new one.
Yeah.
I loved that show.
Yeah, so it has this cold opening, and in the very last episode, it is the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. It is Lincoln, and Wilkes Booth is getting ready to shoot Lincoln, and all of a sudden a batarang comes out of nowhere and stops the assassination.
That would be wicked cool.
And like Wilkes Booth drops down on the stage, says the quote,
The line.
Latin.
the Latin.
Tempora separa
There's one,
tyrannus.
yeah, like
Yeah.
tyrants, forever tyrants. I don't remember.
We
Yeah.
shall suffer tyrants.
So and then jumps into a giant steam-powered mecha suit and has this fight with Batman. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, he's destroyed the timeline by saving Lincoln.
You would think that you see a British guy in a long coat in the corner going, ah!
Yeah. So he's, at the very end of that, fight where he stopped Wilkes Booth, a portal like a boom tube opens up, and Abraham Lincoln got to punch Wilkes Booth in the thing.
As for trying to kill me.
Yeah, and
I hunt vampires, damn it.
yeah, at the very end of that bit, Batman looks at Lincoln and goes, "It was nice saving you, Lincoln, from Earth 2.5 or something like that." And Batman walks off into the boom tube. So it was like an alternate dimension. So our timeline wasn't disrupted.
It was theirs.
It was their
He's
timeline.
like, no, let's not tell you about Batman. Not my world. Fuck it.
So, well, in that alternate reality, maybe Lincoln wasn't meant to die, or something like that. So it was this.
Gotta keep hunting vampires.
Yeah, this whole timeline thing. Like I'm sitting there going, Batman is like, how are they going to get out of this without killing Lincoln?
Yeah.
And it's just like,
what if it he just like pleasure saving you and he leaves, and all of a sudden like Wilkes Booth comes back and he shoots him anyway, and then the time all the history books time it's like after he was saved, prematurely, he was stepped on.
So it was just this weird
By
like
giant wooden boots.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite little
Giant wooden boots, is that what you said? It took
Well,
me
he was in a steam-powered mech suit, so you'd think like the boots would be like either like copper or
It just took me a half second, like, wait, did he just say stepped on by giant boots?
wooden boots.
Oh,
Wooden,
wooden. Sorry.
Like that's Wilkes Booth's like mecha suit. All it is like it's a platform with two levers that he sits on with a plush velvet chair, and they're just like these two big like wooden feet that they're wearing freaking flop top boots. And he's like, "I want to step on you, Lincoln."
I love how everybody you imitate has the same accent. It's awesome.
I have a very limited world. There's only I have an ethically cleansed world in my head. Everybody speaks the same language.
So,
Oh dear.
yeah.
They tried stopping me. They're like, "You're the Hitler of your own mind." I was like, "Yeah, in this world I win."
Yeah, I'm gonna have to delete that.
I'm not fascist and or racist.
Disclaimer.
I don't kill people in my mind. Just
This
to ethically
podcast
cleanse
does
them.
not support Nazism.
We are glad the Allied forces won in World War II. I am neo-nothing if not conservative. And it's like, oh, we definitely gotta edit that.
So, Maylene, what's your favorite alternate reality?
I think for the moment, I really, because I'm still so into Fringe, like I am, and I know not everyone likes it, Mike, but I like the episode. Well, the reason
They
why
have the Steward of Gondor on there, and that guy was a dick. He tried to burn
you
his
really
son
gotta
alive.
separate your movie universes, okay? You really
No, that guy pissed me off so much when he tried to kill him. When he tried to kill his own son, I was like, no, I don't care whatever I
Why
see
do
now.
you insist on contradicting every opinion I have? Like, if you go back through every other podcast we have, you
All two of them?
Yeah, all two of them. You hate every opinion I have.
No,
I'm sorry.
but no, to be fair, I don't think I actually gave Fringe a fair chance.
So, but I mean,
honestly.
one of the reasons why I liked the alternate universe in that was because it was more of the little subtle things that changed. Like, in the
subtle nuances of the
the
world.
one of the things that changed was in the alternate reality from ours. Pens, like they stopped using pens when the main character was in elementary school.
Really?
Yeah, pens are just a weird thing to see in that universe.
What do they use?
Digital tablets. Everything's digital.
technology.
Oh, okay.
They don't use pens. Like, she has a comment of like, "Wow!" Like, one of the guys goes, "Do you know what that is?" She goes, "Yeah, it's a pen. I haven't seen one since grade school." Kind of thing. So it's like,
Wow.
a lot of the people growing up in that time don't know
That's
what pens
crazy.
are, and so it's like a lot of little things like that. Like, her alternate version of herself comes to our side, and she makes some comment, like, she ends up watching this movie Casablanca, our version of Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart, and she makes a comment of like, yeah, that's the one with what was the actor? Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan.
Oh crap!
Yeah, like in her universe, Ronald Reagan played
the Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't he up for the role in any?
We looked it up,
and he wasn't actually up for the part. It was just a rumored thing, like.
Oh, in their world it was true.
Yeah, in their world it was true. It was this big thing where it's like him, some actress, I can't remember her name right now, and one other guy were rumored to star in Casablanca, and it wasn't true. That and so, just in their universe, he did get the role, and
Okay.
kind of thing.
Oh, I remembered my other one. It's not quite the end, but I remembered it. It's from the show Community. They actually set up to have several. They actually set up for multiple ones in one episode. They're sitting there at a party at a housewarming party for one of their friends, and the pizza guy rings the bell, and they have to go. Somebody has to go down and get it. And one of the guys holds up a 6-sided die. He goes 1 through 6. Whoever I land on has to get it. And the whole episode is them going through the different possibilities, going through their own multiverse created by the die, and how things the worst one was the roll of 1, and that became the worst timeline. They called it the dark timeline, and they keep referencing it back in the show. But what's the dark timeline? What happens is the character Troy goes and gets the pizza, and a fire breaks out, people get shot, people go insane, and then at the end of the episode, everybody's sitting there, and they're like, the one guy, the only guy who's not really affected is the guy Abed, and he's making felt Van Dykes. He goes, I have decided that this is the darkest timeline because of that dice roll Jeff did, and we have to go ahead and take care of. We have to. I say we all become evil and find a way to return to the prime timeline and stop this from happening, because the TV show's continuity is the prime. And he goes, like, Abed, stop being weird. Shirley's a drunk now because it was her cupcakes in the oven that started the fire. Annie's in a mental institution because it was her gun that shot Pierce in the leg and killed him. And Troy, for some reason, ate a flaming troll. And now burned out his lyrics, and also he's got this thing. He's like, and he hits the thing, and it's this little roll. But he's like, obviously you don't know how to take care of and get rid of trolls. And she goes, and Jeff lost his arm in the fire, and the guy waves at the stump of his arm, like, yep. And she's like, and they're like, well, what happened to you? She goes, I messed up. I went to a dark place. Look, there's blue in my hair. Jeff goes, it's washable. But the whole storyline is them being evil, and their last season finale, they came back to it. And in it, Abed actually was able to grow a real Van Dyke in the evil timeline. And in the timeline, they're trying to get Jeff to not want to stay with his friends. So they come to their dimension. And evil Jeff's got a robot arm, and he's criminally insane now. She wants to do bad things, and they make out.
This is in Community?
Yeah. And
I never wanted to watch it because I lived community college.
They have paintball guns that if you get shot with them, you go to the opposite dimension.
When you said dimensional, for some reason I thought you were going to say dementia. So
no, they have paintball guns that when you get shot with them, you go to the opposite dimension. So if you're in our dimension, you get shot with a paintball gun, you go to the other dimension. And if I remember right, in the show, he goes, "Do you want to see the 3rd season of a TV show?" I can't remember what, but I was only made it 1 season. He goes, "It only made it 1 season." He goes, "Not here. We're on our 8th season. I got the 3rd one on DVD."
Firefly. Yeah, somewhere in an alternate universe,
Firefly is still going, and I am happy and not angry every other day. Oh.
Just punch a wall. Firefly was so good.
I have my moments of rage. I continuously write and delete death threats to Rupert Murdoch on my computer. But in some other world, I'm writing.
That's a smart move.
Well, I delete them. I never send them. But in some other reality, I'm sitting at my computer writing praise notes to him and Joss Whedon. Plus, with Joss Whedon, if the show. But think about this: if that show's still going, in another dimension, he didn't. Then that means he possibly didn't direct Avengers.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it probably flopped.
It probably did.
And like Robert Downey Jr., like they went to like freaking Seth Rogen to be Iron Man. I'm Iron Man.
That'd be a bad
Instead
choice.
of the Green Hornet.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. plays the Green Hornet, and it becomes one of the greatest movies ever.
I loved the Green Hornet. I thought it.
And hopefully, in that dimension, Bruce Lee's still alive, and he's still fit enough to play Kato again. Or they make the movie when Jackie Chan, before Jackie Chan got all super tan and pudgy.
So, pudgy. That's a fun word.
Pudgy.
Let's talk about video games.
Okay.
That was out of nowhere. Maylene, first video game.
First video game was actually Super Mario Brothers on the NES.
Welcome to everybody else in America.
Yeah, I know.
But that was quickly led to the SNES and Donkey Kong Country.
Oh yeah,
that was
a shit.
That was my
game. Was the shit.
I actually have that game.
We bought it for him.
Good. And
we have a working NES, SNES,
GameCube,
N64,
Wii.
yeah.
And an Xbox.
Yeah, we favored Nintendo in this household.
You finally got an Xbox.
Yeah, wedding gift.
Well, he had one a couple years back, but it got the red ring of death.
Yeah, mine.
And I got really pissed off about that. I was like, bullshit! I have an NES that still works. Like, this is modern tech. Why is my Xbox not?
When my Xbox Ring of Death, which I still don't have one now, and I miss it. But when it died, I still had a working N64. I ended up selling it, which was the biggest mistake ever. Because the original the Mario Kart on that one was awesome. And plus, you had 007 GoldenEye.
I need to buy...
The only video game I played where when you shoot a guy in the crotch, he grabs his crotch and dies slowly. They fall and rise, and I'm like, yeah. I had an old Marine sitting behind me while I was playing that game, and I just kept shooting guys in the balls. And he goes, ooh, that's not even right in war, boy. Oh, man.
In war, we just aim for the stomach.
He's like, we aimed a little higher. And he's like, we aimed a little higher back in my day. Oh, man.
That game was so good. I found out a lot about it just doing, the research online and stuff. I looked up a lot of video game stuff, and there's, that game was like delayed 2 or 3 years.
Which one?
GoldenEye.
Oh, GoldenEye, yeah.
It was delayed 2 or 3 years. Because it was a movie adaptation of a film that was out 2 or 3 years,
Yeah, it was the movie adaptation of the movie. It was the game adaptation of the movie GoldenEye.
Yeah, and originally it was meant to be a rail shooter. Like you go through that's why the levels are so complex, because it was designed to be a rail shooter with the screen just kind of going this way and that way and this way, and you're having to shoot, and you that's where the whole idea of not shooting civilians and stuff came from, was because that was part of the rail shooter mechanic. And so when they dropped the rail shooter mechanic and allowed you to walk through the levels freely,
that's when it got fun.
That's when a lot of that stuff was holdover from like reloading your ammo. It's all holdover from the rail mechanic shooter.
So what was your first game, Brandon?
It was Mario for the NES. I didn't actually own it. My uncles did. And I'd go over to my grandma's house and play it.
Yeah, mine was my sister, so it wasn't mine either.
Yeah. Duck Hunt was a fun one.
I hated that game only because I could never shoot a freaking duck.
I never. Worst shot in the West. I
would aim it directly at the stupid duck at the sensor bar, and it'd be like, "Oh, it got away," and the dog would laugh at me, and I'd be like, "I hate you, dog."
But she could shoot the dog.
I hate you, dog. I couldn't because I was out of bullets by that time.
You save one for the dog.
You always save one for the dog.
But Duck Hunt was, and then years later, it sucks I don't own these two games. I need to find them online. But years later, I'd stay a lot of time at my uncle's house. Mm-hmm. And my uncle had a roommate who left some shit behind. and some of the stuff that got left behind
You
was
shouldn't touch that. That's dirty.
yeah. But some of the things that got left behind was an NES, and he had a couple of games, and I played the Batman video game from the 1980s.
Oh wow.
Batman adaptation, which is actually really good. It's not anything like the newer games, but it's a 2D scroller where you're having to jump from platform to platform, or a 2D platformer. And, there are criminals, and you got to use batarangs to go around different obstacles. And
Wow.
the thing is, the one thing that's a little disturbing is Batman has like a gun in the game, just straightforward, like, boom, shoot you, boom, shoot you.
Oh crap.
And it didn't bother me when I was a kid. And then,
You played it now. You're like, he doesn't have a gun.
well, Batman did have a gun when he was first created.
Well, yeah, but you mean now?
Yeah,
I know when he was first created, Bob Kane gave him a gun.
yeah, put it on his hip. There was a lot more in that utility belt than we know of.
Oh yeah.
It was just ammo. That's all it was.
It's funny, in one of the movies, they're like he gets a guy to help him, and he goes, "Well, where are you gonna put this in that belt?" And he's like, "No guns."
No,
He goes, "There is a pocket, but no guns."
no good. But there was that one, and then the other game that I really got into was Metroid.
Oh, the original Metroid was awesome.
It was creepy, man. Like as a kid, like I didn't want to play it, but I did want to play it.
Yeah. Of course, you go all the way to the end. You're thinking, "This guy's awesome. This guy's the shit." And ultimately, takes off the helmet. It's a woman.
Yeah. First woman in video games. I never even beat the game. I found that out later. I was like, he was a she, she's a he, and
She the one I want. Yeah. Samus goes to Zero Suit. But well, that was a. I didn't think you would say Metroid. I haven't met anybody that's played the old Metroid.
Oh, it's an amazing game. First game to actually have backtracking and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Metroid Prime, the GameCube renditions they did after, when the GameCube came out, that was an amazing game.
I own it, but I've never beaten it.
Oh, it's amazing. I love that game. And then
I get paranoid in first-person shooters.
well, I tend to get kind of paranoid too. I feel like I'm getting PTSD when I play Medal of Honor or Call of Duty. When I play either of those, I'm just like, ah!
I can't get into first-person shooters because the whole time I'm moving around, I'm like, someone's behind me! I can't see behind me!
I get that mentality. That's why I duck behind obstacles a lot. But I get into them. I'm just like, okay, hide, go.
That's why I'm really horrible at first person shooters. Like every time I try to play one, I'm always hiding and
You're like, somebody's behind me.
Yeah, I'm always hiding behind something, not doing what I need to do, and then inevitably the moment I venture out,
She gets team speak, and they're like, "We're dying!
Yeah.
We're dying! There's literally so much teabagging going on. Help us!"
like,
And
the
she's
moment
like,
I venture out, someone shoots my character and I'm dead. I'm like, what? I didn't even have. Aww.
I'm
I hate this game.
I'm not I can't really. I'm not good at modern games. I'm really not.
I'm fair.
And like that's the namesake of the magazine's 8-bit pulp. You know, it's like 8-bit to me sounds fun. It brings back a lot of good memories and stuff like that.
Nothing to do with video games.
I think the first 2 or 3 weeks after, we're like, okay, 8-bit pulp is the name of it. Like the first 2 or 3 weeks, anytime someone mentioned it, I would automatically think of Mario theme music.
Yeah.
Like that would go through my head, and I couldn't stop it.
It's like 8-bit pulp. It's just it's fun. Like 8-bit. Like I had to explain to my mom. It's like, what's 8-bit? I was like, the old video games had 8 bits of processing. That's all you had.
Yep.
And it was just...
That's why the Nintendo 64 was called 64. It had 64 bits of processing.
Yeah. Like the NES, or SNES, and Sega Genesis, they were 16-bit consoles.
Yes, they were 16.
Which
like I'll say, after I played the original NES, and I went to the SNES, and like I said, my favorite game was Donkey Kong Country. I thought that was amazing because of the way it looked at that time. It was like probably the
mine carts.
Yeah, the mine carts. That was those were my favorite levels on that game, honestly.
Oh yeah, I played those a lot.
Especially since I had a trick that would take me to the end. Like
she still knows it all.
I still know almost all the secrets.
When we bought when we got a new copy of Donkey Kong, literally took her like 4 hours, maybe even less, to beat the whole game.
Damn.
I was like, I love this game. And he's looking at me like, how much did you play this game as a kid? It's like I look at him like, there was a period of time
Yeah.
when my sisters were in their teenage years and they didn't want to hang out. And
So I played video games.
my cousin had moved, so I played video games.
I remember when my cousins were living with us, and because we had an NES for way longer than we should have, I can tell. But they lived with us, and they would play Super Mario Brothers, and they remembered where every single one-up mushroom was hidden in every single level.
Really?
Oh yeah, they found every single one. They would never tell me where they were.
Eventually, what I'd like to do is do like because I know there's ways to do it, but screen capturing the TV screen, and because I've seen other podcasts do it,
Yeah.
but get some of the writers over and just play on the NES, and just like
Do a vodcast.
yeah, do a vodcast of playing
playing video games.
the older because we all love them. I mean, that's
Oh yeah.
like we're writers, but it's still like we
We have other passions.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
But
It's like with the comic books, I always dreamed of like getting an 8-bit version of one of the comics done. Like if anyone offered me
would be
like no, it's got to be 8-bit. Like we don't do 8-bit anymore. Well, if you're going to use my licensed characters,
you have to do 8-bit.
it's going to be an 8-bit game.
Could you imagine going into Walmart and seeing brand new, like from Destiny, based on Destiny comics, and it's the old box that they came in,
Yeah.
and they're the cartridges.
You
and
know,
everything.
kids are gonna be like, "What the heck is
What
that?"
the hell is this? And they're selling brand new regular NESs at the bottom, like on the bottom of the case.
Yeah.
And they're like, "This is," and they start screaming, "2 buttons!"
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Okay, you know my wallet is the original NES Nintendo
Yeah.
control. That's what my wallet is. Well, I showed it to my older niece Alana when I first got it.
Like, what's
I go,
that?
"Isn't this cool?" She goes, "Oh, it's like the retro control." She goes, "Ha ha, 2 buttons, only 2 buttons." I go, "That's all you needed.
that's all you needed.
None of this XY crap."
Run,
Okay?
run, jump. That's it. And if you were
Fire.
Mega Man, you fired.
Yeah. Did you guys on your, because the original NES, they're a brick.
Yeah.
They have sharp corners. You
Yeah.
swing those things like a flail. You're cutting something.
Ah!
Did you guys have the little slip-ons?
No,
No.
I didn't.
We had. My dad got them after he got tendinitis. They're these things, and they actually round out the corners. There's big black things. They round out the corners, and they have these little like points at the end where you can like it makes it almost ergonomic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sweet, cool, yeah. And like when you take them off, you take them apart and put them together because there's a gap between them when they're on the remote. But if you take them off and you just put them together, they look like they're a mini remote in themselves.
Well, it was like I had an uncle, I had a cousin. And I was so jealous because he had the joystick, the NES.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was the size of a flippin' laptop. Now,
Yeah, I remember those.
like a smart book, but it had A, B, select, start, and the actual joystick.
Yeah, I
You
remember
know,
that.
and it was just like, oh my god, like I was so jealous.
Well, now they have all kinds of specialty remotes. Like there's one that when they first brought out Resident Evil 4, if you bought the special edition, you got a specialty remote that looked like a bloody chainsaw,
Nice.
and it had the joystick and the buttons and everything. And you held it almost like a chainsaw and played it, and there was a special button on it that if you pushed it, the chain would rotate.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. Nobody's playing the game. They're chasing the cylinders around going, I want to cut you. Come here.
Ah!
Because you know it had probably like one of those little bead chains on there, and it's to get the noise like. He's like, he's gonna cut me.
Now, well, like we just got we got an Xbox. I've been addicted to it, and I know the game's out for a year. But Batman Arkham City,
That's a fun game.
I've been just addicted to it, and at Comic-Con, I even saw years ago. I saw the exclusive preview stuff that they were showing at Comic-Con, and it's kind of cool to finally get a hold of that game and play it.
Yeah, it's fun. For the new one, Arkham
I'll
Origins.
say, I wouldn't know. I sit and watch.
Jesus to watch.
But for the one they're doing now, the prequel, Batman Arkham Origins, they've released some of the. If you buy the PS3 version, I think it is, you can get these ones. Or if you pre-order from a certain place, I can't remember, but you get it's 2 skins that will be available the moment you get the game. Azrael Batman, Adam West Batman.
Oh,
They showed a still of the Adam West Batman, and I'm like, that is the buffest that Batman's ever been.
because Adam West, he had a pot belly. He did.
Oh yeah, and like it shows, because it's like, it's the purple and the gray with the oversized belt, but he's like, make fun of me now. He is buff.
Well, what happened was they finally got the rights settled for the Adam West.
There's going to be a lot of Adam West Batman stuff coming out within the next couple of years.
They're finally going to be releasing the DVDs.
Yes, they're finally going to be getting the DVDs because they figured out. Because the reason why the DVDs weren't put out is because of how many hands were in the TV show. They didn't know how to work out the residuals.
Because it was ABC was the showrunner. That was who's paying for it.
They were the network that ran it.
Fox
owned it.
Well, Fox it was filmed at Fox Studios, so they had a cut.
Oh yeah, it was filmed there.
Fox Studios solely owned the movie. That's why
the
movie's out on DVD. But the series was ABC with Fox, and then on top of it, they had so many cameos between like Dean Martin and all.
Yeah.
So these celebrities who still have estates, they actually had a cut of the rights.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, come on, you did a cameo on the show.
Yeah, they didn't know how to do the residuals because there were so many hands in the show.
Yeah.
But now it's all worked out. It's working. There's Hot Wheels has put out a couple. Have put out the original Batmobile, now officially licensed. They put that out. They're supposed to be...
I have the one DC put out years ago that wasn't officially licensed. That's like... It is the Adam West Batmobile, but we're not saying it's the Adam West Batmobile.
We'll be getting Adam West action figures now, as Batman and as Bruce Wayne.
Comic-Con exclusives, they're launching them.
They're launching them there, but then they'll be available in stores. I think they said by Christmas.
There's one I want where it's like, it's so funny. It's pretty huge because it's this big. It mounts to your wall, and it's a metal sheet. And on the bottom of the feet of the figures of Batman and Robin, they're magnetic.
Ooh.
And it's Batman and Robin climbing up the side.
It's the wall climber?
It's the wall climber.
Nice!
I
would get that.
I want that.
I want to get, if they do a Joker one, I want to get the Joker action figure just so I can look real close at him and see if they put in the whited out mustache.
Yeah. Well, it's like DC, because of this, they're doing a whole new comic. I put it on my saver. I haven't even seen if it's come out yet. But they're doing a whole new universe called Batman 66. And it's DC Comics, and it's drawn like the Adam West series.
There's going to be a lot of pow, bang.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was telling Maylene earlier, I think
the Joker's got to have the whited out mustache.
Oh, he does.
It's not 66 Batman.
He does.
That's one thing I always thought was kind of BA about Series of Remember. It's like, no, I will not shave my mustache.
But they really... Sorry to interrupt this podcast, but I gotta ask Brandon here a question. Do you like teddy bears possessed by angels?
I love teddy bears possessed by angels.
Then do I have the book for you? It's Mr. Cuddles, a wonderful comic from Destiny Comics.
The fact that they were willing to just like, okay, cover over it, kind of thing. It's like,
they're like, we get enough makeup and when we notice, it's like, I see it.
That's the kind of thing that every time you watch the show and the Joker was on, everyone was looking for his mustache.
Oh yeah, well in the movie, I like in the movie, they were able to do one thing that took your mind off the mustache. They put him in a cat burglar mask for several scenes.
Oh yeah,
it's like, and it was purple. It's like, we know it's you.
I didn't even think about that.
We know it's you. Like I tell you though, at the end of Dark Knight Rises, I half expected Batman to look directly at the screen and be like, "There's just some days you can't get rid of a bomb."
It's the same freaking thing, man.
Yeah, because Batman, the Batman movie back in the '60s, there's just some days you can't get rid of a bomb. I love how he's like, no, I can't kill ducks.
Like, that's my favorite bit. Him running down the harbor with the bomb.
Running down the harbor, he's got the bomb, and it's the classic black ball bomb with the fuse.
The fuse is burning,
and he's just running. He sees the ducks, and he's like, nope, can't do it. And he's like, oh, there's somebody who just can't get rid of a bomb.
What's bullshit is like originally he was just going to sacrifice the bar, and there was two old barmaids who like, we're going to go... Like, they were just ready to die with the bar. Like, we're not leaving.
They're like, nope. Batman's like, shit.
And he runs out with the bomb. And it's like, every worst thing... Like, it's so funny now. Because it's like, there's a parade. There's nuns. There's two lovers on a bench.
And he keeps having to make turns. And it's like,
come on! If you're like 5, you're like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
But now you're like, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Like at 5, you're like, oh no, Batman can't get rid of the bomb. He might blow up. But now you're like, come on.
I took that show so seriously as a kid. Like,
And
as
then
a kid, I was just
wait,
like...
wait,
As a kid, it's freaking Shakespeare, and you're like, oh my gosh,
My
this is amazing.
favorite-
Then you watch, and you're like, what the hell is this? Monkeys did this.
My favorite is still the shark repellent.
Oh,
Hand me the bat shark repellent.
I know it's really lame and stupid, but it's like, okay, that's funny. Like, to me, that was always really funny.
Somebody wrote a joke.
Someone came up with the whole shark repellent.
bad shark repellent. There was one of my favorite bits from Adam West, because there was an interview with Adam West, and somebody asked him, it's like, what was it like having that shark attached to your leg? And he just looked dead serious and he said, I still have the scars.
One thing I really liked, though, that somebody called to attention there. They actually showed the clip, and it's the scene with the shark repellent. Robin, he hits a button, autopilot, and he gets shark repellent, and he climbs down the ladder, flips upside down, completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
And hands him the
You
shark
could
repellent.
have just dropped it to him and he could have caught it.
But somebody brought to attention, like at the end of the clip, they put up words and it says, they had autopilot in 1966.
Yeah.
Where's his autopilot now? And they showed the scene from Dark Knight Rises.
That's funny.
I
didn't think about
was
that.
like, Mega Bird.
What was
Like on the that 70 show. Burn!
Yeah.
Well, there was one clip I saw, not clip, but still images on Facebook. It was from Doctor Who. It was the Cybermen and the Daleks, their argument.
Oh, yeah.
And the
You are
Cyber...
superior. The Cybermen are superior in one aspect. What is that? You die easy.
You're
You're
You're better at dying. Then it shows Kelso. Burn! I remember that. That was funny.
It was.
That seems to be a meme now, because that's when I saw another one where it was like Kelso at the bottom going burn. I don't remember what it
Well,
was.
there's one with Dragon Ball Z, and it goes, and Yamcha goes to Vegeta. He goes, "Oh, Cell owned you." He goes, "Wow, Cell owned you pretty bad, huh?" He goes, "You're talking pretty." No, he goes, "You're talking pretty tough for a guy who got owned by Cell." And he goes, "Yeah, you're right. It's not like he's a Cyberman or anything. The guys that killed Yamcha at the beginning of the series." And also he shows Kelso burn. Because on Dragon Ball Z Abridged, they make fun of that. Like, they land, and all of a sudden they're like, we're here for this. And the little guys show up. And like, they're our babies. And they make a noise. I'm like, yeah, well, we're here to fight. We're going to kick your butt. And Simon right through the chest. And he goes down there like, oh, crap. They killed Yamcha. I mean, it's going to happen anyway, but holy crap.
This is cannon fire. If you're not Goku and you're in Dragon Ball Z, you're cannon fire. That's what it is.
Somebody actually wrote this thing that I thought was really great. And because a guy asked a question, he goes, if you could have anybody from the show train you, who would it do your initial training and then your mastering training? A lot of people are like, Goku Master Roshi or something like that. One guy goes, I want Yamcha to train me. And everybody laughed at him. They laughed at him and he goes, no. He goes, no, the reason why is because Yamcha's human and he wasn't the best at what he did, but he always tried. He worked hard and he always tried. I would love to have that guy as my master. And I was like, yeah, I can understand that, but yeah, so Vegeta Roshi.
But Dragon Ball Z is really fun in a lot of aspects.
But if you think about it, you know what it taught kids, besides go stand outside and scream until your hair turns blonde, or try and punch your friend through 3 miles of mountain. It was better yourself. Always try and stand up for justice.
Well, it's funny if you ever watch the Death Battle. I love Death Battle as a series. They did a season finale. It was a 30-minute. Normally, Death Battle's like 10 minutes episode.
Which I don't think I've ever seen that.
I'll show you. It's a 30. The season finale for episode 2 is a 30-minute finale, and it's Goku versus Superman. And the one thing I love about Death Battle is it's not just like, oh, we're gonna.
I've heard about this. Everybody was raging because they had Superman win.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
Yeah, Superman wins, but
In what?
in Death Battle.
Oh.
But Superman beat Goku in this.
But engineering formulas proved that Goku could beat Superman.
No, like they did the math. They showed.
No, an engineering student actually did the math through.
I'll show you the episodes.
I know, but like this one guy did it, and he showed that Goku is technically stronger than Superman.
Superman can push the Earth out of its orbit.
There was he actually went to a comic where
7
Superman,
quintillion tons or whatever is his
Well,
average.
That's All-Star Superman when he's dying of sun cancer.
Yeah, but they actually give you his average in that book before he gets the boosted power.
In one comic, they say that it was 100 million tons. At one point, they said that, and I think that was the total they went off of. And they go through the power levels and stuff and the average strength of humans and everything, but in this one formula, Goku was stronger. But
what it boils down to is Goku is constantly always trying to better himself and constantly trying to. But Superman has always been designed to overcome the odds. And like when they did the math, they said at the end, it's like every chance we got, we skewed things in the favor of Goku because it was just so unfair. It was so unfair because it's like it's not even comparing.
Well, one thing, did they factor in the Saiyan special ability?
Oh, they factor in everything.
But no, I mean their special ability.
It's a 30-minute show. 20 minutes is just them breaking down the character's powers.
But did they do the ability I'm talking about was the Saiyan's ability when they come back from a near-death experience, their power is, remember, it doubled or tripled or something.
Yeah.
Their power grows exponentially every time they come close to death. And the closer they come to death, or the harder it happens, the more they'll grow by.
They even gave Goku the magic stick, which he didn't have.
The power pole.
The power pole. Since he was a child, he only used that when he was a child.
He only had it as a kid. Yeah.
But they gave him the power pole because Superman's weakness is magic. It was the one thing that Goku had in his arsenal.
The only thing that was magic about the power pole was that it extended almost indefinitely. And Superman can hold his breath for almost forever. So putting him in space doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I mean, you'll have to watch the video. It's really well done. I love Death Battle.
Yeah, I'll have to see it. Because I haven't seen it, but I know everybody raged about Superman winning.
I loved it. I thought it was done beautifully because the animation doesn't matter. It's the statistics they support beforehand.
Well, that showed Deadliest Warrior before it got canceled. They did the vampire zombie episode.
That bothered me so much.
I enjoyed that episode. It was really good. I thought the facts were very well laid out. I think their final cut down was skewed to what it would really happen. But but what I think is because they started doing fictional things like vampires and zombies, I think they should have started letting in other things like Batman, like Batman and all that stuff.
No.
Of course, actually, they'd have to save Batman for a season finale because Batman always wins.
Batman always wins. Well, they couldn't get. Chances are they couldn't get the rights.
The two teams, they could the arguments they always have. The Batman side would never have an argument. They'd just be like, well, what about that? And they'd be like, he's Batman.
He's Batman. Like the Grant Morrison Bat God. He's got a contingency for everything.
Oh yeah, like the Omega Beam didn't kill him; it just sent him into the time stream.
Yeah, which I don't understand that. I thought they should have just killed him. Non-believer. Well, no, it's that whole Final Crisis pissed me off anyway.
Yeah.
Orion.
He's the one that ends the universe in the alternate timeline. He activates a Genesis cube that deconstructs the universe into energy and reconstructs it without the, as he says, taint of Darkseid.
Yeah,
which doesn't matter. He could have stopped it. Darkseid was lobotomized.
Darkseid is probably one of my favorite villains. The whole New God stuff is.
Have you ever seen the Darkseid that I forget the artist's name, but he wrote him for Grant Morrison. He had the Omega symbol on his chin.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite Darkseid. But getting back to video games, you never asked mine.
Yeah, what was your?
My first video game actually wasn't Super Mario.
What's that?
Dun dun dun.
Was it number 2?
No, it was actually Duck Hunt.
Oh.
Duck Hunt.
It was Duck Hunt, and it was on. We had it, which is weird because we had it on a combo.
Oh, yeah, the combo one.
We had a combo cassette that had Super Mario and Duck Hunt.
Well, yeah,
that's how I had mine too.
Well, the NES came with that. It was weird because the NES, the first wave came with a combo pack of Mario and Duck Hunt, and then the second wave. I feel so bad for the second wave. The second wave came with a combo pack of Mario and the Olympic game.
Yeah, one of my friends had that combo pack, and I was like, dude, Duck Hunt.
The Olympic Games sucked, like the 1980 something Olympics or whatever.
And the running pad.
Oh
man,
it
that
just
sucked.
it just sucked. It was
like that's the running event. That was the only time you needed that running pad. It took up so much space.
Yeah, they were trying to do the Wii stuff in the 80s. Like they were always trying to do that.
Yeah.
Even the Power Glove.
Yep, I remember.
You know, they were always everything.
I never got to use them, but I've seen them so much. They were so.
Everything
cool.
was always working towards the
Yeah.
Wii. We did a photo shoot for the first or second pulp with Terra, and we wanted to do like sexy, scantily clad, kind of like with Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
I was this close to just buying the Power Glove for the photo shoot. You know,
as long as you don't do that picture of the girl who's just got like the remotes covering her up with the Zelda.
No.
Because you know, video gamers, they're not gonna be like, oh, dude, naked chick, awesome. They're gonna be like, holy crap, they got Zelda.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I posted some of the pictures on my DeviantArt account, just because I thought Tara didn't mind, so.
we have the rights to the images.
Only one guy was like, dude, she's hot. Everybody else was
one
like,
guy goes, I don't know what's sexier, the model or the Nintendo system. He literally said that. He goes, I'm torn between which is sexier.
There's a gold painted NES floating around out there worth $1,500. It has the first run serial numbers, and its run serial number is almost all zeros. And what it was actually a system given out to several of the system's developers.
Mm.
And one of them sold for $1,500 with just the console, no remotes. And then they had a full set one in the box. I think went for almost $1 million.
Wow.
And it was gold. That one was supposedly not just painted. It was supposedly gold plated. And it came in the box with its combo game and remotes.
I believe that Nintendo did a lot of cool stuff, but they were also kind of dicks because they controlled the market for a long time.
Oh yeah, because the moment they came out, Atari, they were gone.
Yeah.
Because when they came out with their console, because theirs was a widely transferable console with bigger content, Atari didn't really have that. Plus, its graphics were below 8-bit.
Well, what happened was there was Nintendo really dickish move, and this is ultimately why PlayStation, or not why PlayStation exists, but why PlayStation was able to capitalize so well when they came on the market, was Nintendo, every cartridge from NES to SNES has a chip in it that allows it to work. Mm-hmm. Nintendo made that chip.
Oh.
So Nintendo, like a developer, like these other developing companies, would build this game, and they'd want to do like a run of, say, 10 million copies of the game.
They had to buy 10 million of the chips.
Not only would they have to buy 10 million of the chips, Nintendo rationed them.
Wow.
So,
Perfect timing.
but Nintendo they rationed the chips. So, like, let's say you're a developer and you want 10 million copies of your game. Nintendo says, we don't have enough faith in this game. We're only going to give you 10,000 copies of your chip. So, like...
Yeah, that is dickish.
So, other developers couldn't get the money that they wanted off the sales of the game because they were limiting... So when Sega comes on... Or not Sega, but when, like... PlayStation hits the mainstream with their
free run discs,
with their discs, all the developers were like, "Screw you, Nintendo."
Yeah.
And actually, PlayStation comes out of Nintendo screwing over
a lot of companies.
Another company, because originally PlayStation was going to be a Nintendo product.
Really?
It was going to be the Nintendo PlayStation, and what happened was ultimately Nintendo didn't want to do a disc system because they were afraid of plagiarism. Copyright. People just burning their own discs, which PlayStation had a serious problem with in the beginning.
Then they found their lock codes.
Yeah, so Nintendo didn't want to do it, so they pulled out at the last minute, like after the system had been revealed.
Oh
shit! So they screwed over this company, and they're like, okay, and they entered the market themselves as their own independent console. And
they are one of the biggest players now.
Yeah. So Nintendo can actually, if Nintendo was just willing to play nice, PlayStation would be a subdivision of Nintendo.
Yeah, and they would be monsters at this point.
Yeah.
Let's. I want to ask you guys real quick, just favorite games.
For any of the games?
Any system.
Well, for the original NES, I'd have to say Super Mario Brothers 3, because
That one was cool.
that was probably my favorite of them, because I liked the general format of it, and I loved the tail that made you fly. You know.
I thought the world selection in that was really good.
Oh yeah, so big.
But again, like I said, I've just got such fond memories of SNES Donkey Kong Country, because that was, when I was a kid, that was my game. That was the game that I fell in love with. That I was just like I said, as a kid, I was completely blown away by how the graphics and everything, the way it looked. That's just for me.
Plus, it taught you throwing a tantrum gives you bananas because he smacks the
exactly.
and it looks like he's throwing a tantrum.
And it was one of the few games where I knew almost every secret of the game. And going back, I know there are some that I'm forgetting.
That was one game where you had a true passion.
I knew all the secrets. Going back, I know there are some I'm forgetting, but just because it's been so long since I played it, So, but yeah, I think those are my two favorites.
How hard was it for you to get the gold bricks that spelled Kong?
Oh, there were certain levels that I was like, there's no way I can do it, because you have to die to get a letter, basically. Because they put them in impossible places. Most of the levels I could do it, but some levels I'm just like.
It's what's the point? Because you got a life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what's the point?
What's the point if you got to die just to get the letter?
It's the completionist in you.
Yeah. For you,
the one game that I really loved, SNES, was the Super Mario World.
Yeah.
I played that so much, and then recently I just found out about Special World. I knew about Star World, but I just found out about I'm still there's shit in this game. I'm still it's been 20 some odd years, and it's there's still shit in the game I don't know about.
Damn.
And so there's a whole new world in that game I can't beat.
Damn.
That I just found out about. But there's that game I loved. I love that game with a passion. And then the N64. I hate saying N64 is classic. I hate that because it's retro gaming. I don't think of the N64.
It's quickly becoming retro, though.
They lump it in as retro, and I don't think it is. But anyway, the one game I probably spent a lifetime playing on the N64 was Mario Kart.
Oh, that game! Oh.
At one point, you remember
the Super Mario version was fun too.
Yeah, that was. But you remember the ice level?
Oh yeah, I love that.
They put that in the modern Wii.
In the Wii version, I loved that level.
But there was
Sherbert Land.
There's a power up that's in the 64 version. It's the super mushroom or something. I don't think it made it to the Wii. But me and my friends, we literally in the middle of a race, lined up all of our characters at the shortest distance, and you hit that mushroom, and we managed to launch a character all the way to the middle island with the giant penguin.
Oh yeah, with the that's the the golden mushroom. Right?
Yeah.
It carried over to the new one, and it's a fun one because I remember playing on the N64 version, and I just kept hitting the button. I would I would never just not hit it because you get an extra initial boost every time you activate it.
Yeah.
Because you hit it and then you go faster, but when you first hit it, you're like wham, and then you go.
But in the N64, there was
in the N64 there was a really big zoom ratio though.
Yeah, and there was stuff in that game that wasn't really intended to be in that game.
If you play
the
Royal Raceway, I think it is. There's a turn off on the right.
The castle.
And you can go straight to the castle.
Yeah, the castle from the N64.
From the N64 Mario game.
Which is actually where they have the award ceremony, so it was there for a reason. But there's in the Star Rainbow Road, or Star Road or whatever it is.
It's Rainbow Road.
Rainbow Road. You shoot off, and it has that steep drop.
Yeah.
You can actually go off the track. And it's it's the hardest thing to do, but it's so fun because you go flying through empty, endless darkness, but you can actually land on the track below you.
Yeah, I used to do that.
and it's really hard
Oh, it's insanely hard.
because sometimes you'll hit with such force you'll bounce off the road.
Yeah,
it's like bullshit.
I've done that so many times. I'm like,
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
And it's almost not worth taking the shortcut, but if you hit it, it's like you've won the race no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if you hit that shortcut just once.
Yeah.
Because you literally skip a third of that track, and that track is so huge.
Yeah.
You know, so I played Mario Kart 64. I played that so often and for so long.
That was the first game we got for the N64, and that was the one game me and my sister could agree on to play.
Mm.
We loved playing that, but she ended up hating playing with me because I was the only person that could beat her. Like, everybody's like, oh, I'm the best at Mario Kart, and I'm like, let's play. I haven't lost to people yet.
Oh,
After the race, like, no, you're not.
that seems
Like,
like
everybody who's played at my house are like they're like, oh, I could beat you, and like, I may come in second to a computer, but I'm always ahead of them.
Oh, I admit I'm not the greatest.
I
at
got
that
a
game. I love
working
the game.
N64. I got the game. This sounds like fighting words right
I'll
there.
say, I love
I used to. I don't know about the N64 version, but I know in the Wii version I got that way now. I used to be that way with 64. I can try it.
I will admit, I know I'm not the greatest at that game. I love the game, but I will never claim to be the best at Mario Kart.
I just haven't lost. Like, it's really hard for me to lose at that game. I don't know what it is. I just hate losing. I think that's what it is. It's like I'm either gonna win this or start throwing shit.
No. So
For me,
yeah.
For the Super Nintendo, it's actually gonna be the first Mega Man X.
Mega Man X.
That game was awesome.
I couldn't.
That was
get
the
past
first
it.
game I played where I used codes. That was the first game I played where you could actually have save yourself from dying when you make a mistake with the slide jumps.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to N64, it's gonna be the N64. Like I said, the N64 game is son of a bitch. It happened again.
Brain fart.
The N64. No, it was Super Mario Kart. Sorry, it was the GameCube when I lost but I remember now. It was for GameCube. It was F-Zero GT.
F-Zero.
That game was awesome. I had a car. Because my friend Justin had the GameCube, and we'd always go over there and play. And his car, and so we had everything saved. And my racer was, the name of your car was based on the parts you put on it, and which I think was a great idea. Mine was known as the Bright Goose.
Bright Goose. Well, the one thing, like, it was
I got really good at that game.
It was a bad game, but they had the pod racing game from the first Star Wars.
I couldn't play that game unless I was in that arcade pod racing seat.
In the 64 version of the game, which I have, you can actually buy different parts, and there was a whole upgrade system.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And that was actually the funnest part of the game for me. It was like, I gotta beat this race to get this much money so I can buy this part.
Yep.
And then so because you start off with a junker like the kid in the movie.
Yeah, well, because that's one thing with F-Zero is you start out with a basic car and then you can buy more parts. And that's what me and my friends did was we would race to try and unlock parts and get enough money to buy parts because we wanted to get, because the parts came in classes from A class to D class, and you start out with almost a full D class racer, and so we wanted to try and get all the A class parts. But like some of my parts were A. My car had A, B, C, and D parts. And it's just because the parts all have certain names, and when you put them all together, they make a certain racer. Mine was called the Bright Goose because it had what's called the swan body, sweeping back wings, and then it's called the sparrow cockpit, which is pointed.
Okay, real quick, we're coming to the end of this podcast real quick, but issue 3 of 8-Bit Pulp out. It's out. Amazon, Kindle, Nook. All available.
Hard copy?
Hard copy, Amazon.com. You can get digital copy through the Kindle and the Nook.
Do you have any hard copies? Did you receive any yet?
Not yet. We got to do our order.
Okay.
We're going to have 5 copies for sale at IE Comics and Games off of Florida. And then we might have 5 copies on sale at a different comic book shop in Temecula.
There's 2 places I can think of.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about it.
Don't mention it.
Yeah, but anyway,
Too late, you already talked about
yeah.
it.
Issue 4.
The comic shop out of town.
Yeah, the comic shop out of town. Issue 4 is coming. We're hard on work on issue 4. 8-Bit Pulp, the zombie issue.
Oh, that's going to be a big issue.
We're going to do 200-page spectacular. We're doing a Kickstarter for it.
Are you actually going to call it a spectacular?
Oh, we're calling it a spectacular. 200-page spectacular.
You gotta do it.
Spectacular.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta do it.
200-page spectacular zombie issue. James O'Barr is doing the cover.
I can't wait to see that.
I haven't even seen the cover. I know what he's got in mind from talking to him, but
There's one story by one of the writers that's coming out, because I'm not writing a zombie story, but there's one story coming out by one of the writers that I just can't wait to read. I've heard about it, I've seen a little bit of his rough work, and I just can't wait to see it.
I know who you're talking about.
Wayne's or which one?
Wayne's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of rough work on his, and he's talked to me extensively about his ideas for it, and I just can't wait to read it.
I'm actually surprised. Like, at first, I wasn't all gung-ho to write a story for this, because my experience with zombie is, like, very limited. Like, I will say, I'm not as knowledgeable in zombie lore as, some other people are. So I was like...
I read World War C and the Survival Guide.
So, like, at first, I was kind of like, well, okay, I mean, I know everyone else is excited, but I have no idea what I'm going to do, right? And then I just came up with an idea, and I'm so excited to, like, finally, it's like, okay, I got steam for this now, let's do it, Like,
I'll be willing to see that.
So, in closing, real quick, favorite zombie story?
Movie?
Movie, television, short story.
Right now, I always liked the last Dawn of the Dead they did. That was modern with Vane Rains in it. I actually really enjoyed that storyline. I didn't enjoy the fast moving.
Yeah.
So, but I bet you expected, Walking Dead all over the screen, but no, it was Dawn of the Dead. That was actually really good.
I know you haven't.
I got my favorite ones.
Which one?
I've seen a few different ones, and I still have to say the original Night of the Living Dead is still my favorite.
Is it just me, or did the guns in that movie sound like BB guns? Like when they moved them, it sounded like BBs were moving around in it.
It sounded off. It did a little bit.
Yeah.
The one thing that worried me the first time I saw that was my friend Justin looked at me and he goes, "That's the wrong size liver." Like
really?
The zombie's biting into a liver from the exploded truck. And he goes, "That's the wrong side liver." And I'm like, "How do you know how big it is?"
You're like, "Oh, so you're an expert now?"
Yeah, but part of me, I was like, "Well, it's already." I was like, he goes, "Plus, it's fully cooked." I was like, "Well, see, there's a way around that. They could say the fire did it."
Yeah. I can't help it. And I just, I know for the time, it was a bit...
That was a scary-ass movie.
It's
not
terrible,
just that,
yeah.
but I like the idea...
They shot the black guy at the end. That made me sad.
Oh,
they
I
never
was
survived.
raged. I was so angry.
Everybody else is dead, and I'm like,
he survived.
I'm like, holy crap! He's the first black guy to make. Nope.
I know, he survived, and then dead. And
he slaps the white woman.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. I love the fact that at the time it was so controversial because he slapped a white woman, and at the time everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, can they do this?" And the guy who hired him was like, "Well, he was the best guy for the job,
Romero.
Yeah,
in an interview said, "Well, we weren't making a racial statement. It was the best actor I knew."
Yeah, he was the best guy.
It wasn't like I was trying to say, anything about racism or anything. I was just saying, hey, this guy's a good actor. He's the best we had.
The black guy though in the time he probably had what if he had a really bad day before that scene was shot?
Oh god!
And he's just like, I'm gonna make it work.
I got one shot at this. Let's do it.
One shot. Really.
I'm getting fired after this.
Slap this woman. But it's really great film. Still one of my favorites.
It's wonderful. What about you?
I have to say the first because I'd seen Night of the Living Dead, and arguably what I'm about to say is not really a zombie film, depending on your interpretation of a zombie film.
Mike's getting his fight hand ready.
Yeah.
Come on, let's do it.
But Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
You know,
I
like
would probably.
like the Evil Dead films really warped me as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Like because I.
What about the scene where everything in the house is laughing at him?
Oh, I
and
know.
he's
Oh!
laughing back.
As an adult, I saw that for the first time. I'm like, ah!
Oh
Yeah.
man, that got me. That got me
Yeah.
so bad. But
Like the whole Evil Dead films, because
the mom in the basement, that
Oh.
scared the shit out of me.
horror films weren't allowed in my house as a kid. They just wouldn't.
Horror films are not allowed in my house now, and I'm sad.
You know,
Because those are like the one horror movies I would watch, and I like can't watch them anymore.
well, it was like a group of friends came over when my mom was out of town. We watched all 3 Evil Dead films back to back to back, and like the first film I'm watching it through my fingers. Second film I'm just watching it. Third film I'm on my seat laughing. You know?
Well, see, that's another one of my favorite cult movies is Army of Darkness. I loved that movie.
Yeah.
That movie was just amazing. His monologue after he gets out of the pit, I did that in my high school drama class. I had a
nice.
cardboard shotgun.
This is my
boomstick.
Retails for $179.95 at S Mart. Shop Smart. Shop S Mart.
Well, it was funny because, like, for me, my first exposure to any of the Evil Dead stuff, was after Brad and I started dating. He got the soundtrack to Evil Dead the musical, and I'm like, "What is this?" Like, at first I was like shocked because I've never seen him. I didn't.
Well,
know
he could have got you. Well, think of it this way: he could have got you the soundtrack to the Book of Mormon.
That's true. But then after that, I started laughing like, "Oh my gosh, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever." So he goes, "Okay, you have to sit down and watch it so you understand what's going on.
What they're parodying.
What they're parodying, because it's not funny until you know what they're making fun of." And so after because I saw the second one first, I think. I don't think I saw the first one first.
Yeah, Evil. Well, I was trying to save you from the rape scene.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I can't unsee that. No.
Like,
Yeah, because that happens in the first one.
Yeah, so I saw the first one last, and
yeah, that's how it was for me too.
And so it's like, yeah, I can't unsee that rape scene now.
Yeah, I saw the second one and then the third one, and then my buddy Justin goes, "Hey, look, I found the original Evil Dead." I was like, "Really?" And then we start watching it, and it looks a lot like Evil Dead 2, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And then he was around when they first released, and so he goes, "Okay, look, this came out, and it wasn't received well. Like stuff happened, and so they redid it, and they released Evil Dead 2. They called it 2 because it's technically a different movie."
it is.
So I was like, okay. And then I was watching the first one, and I was like, oh, no! No! And he goes, a lot more blood, huh? I was like, it's not that, man.
The rape scene does, like, weigh on you.
Like, everything else, I was like, okay.
You feel like you need to turn yourself in.
Yeah. Like, after watching that scene, I'm like, I'm going to go take a shower, because this feels really gross.
I had the phone in my hand. After watching that scene, I had the phone in my hand, and I was like, I need to turn myself in.
I know.
I felt horrible.
But that was, like, my favorite, like, that was my first, like, horror film that was like, oh my god. And it was, it was really good. Like, I think I'd seen The Exorcist before that.
Oof.
And
I can never... I to this day I can't eat split pieces.
Again, I refuse to watch that because I know there are things you can't not see.
So
there's a lot of things you can't.
Like after seeing The Exorcist, I was fine just not watching horror films.
Oh yeah,
and that's like my favorite genre.
My very first horror film was Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. That's surprising because that one's got a lot of nudity.
That one, that was the first one I ever saw. I think I watched it with my sister. And
that's gonna be awkward.
It was on TV. So
okay.
It was we watched it on TV because it was out on TV whenever I was a kid, and I was just like, ugh. And then I watched Halloween, and I was like, why has he got to have my name?
Because those films really are just about the boogeyman. That's what they are.
Well, the moment I found out it was a William Shatner mask he was wearing in the original one, I stopped being scared.
Yeah.
And then I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was terrified. Because I watched that one on cassette, and I was like, Urgh!
I don't remember the first horror film I ever saw, but I do remember the first time I watched what was it, Friday the 13th? No, not Friday.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, this was totally unfair, because the first time I saw Nightmare on Elm Street was in broad daylight on a TV screen like this big, very tiny, with my cousins. So it wasn't that scary. Okay, whatever. Then the second time I saw it was actually Brandon and mine's first date, we went to the old historic Hemet Theater.
And she's like this.
We went to the historic Hemet Theater.
She's up on you. She's like, help me.
It was kind of like, not kind of a day, but not really, because my best friend was there with us. And it was, in a dark theater. And like you said, I'm like, oh my gosh! I don't remember it being this freaky.
It's different to see it in theaters. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People.
I would love to see Jaws in theaters.
Well, honestly, movies have a different feel, not just in the theaters,
Yeah.
but between day and night.
Mm-hmm.
Like my best friend Justin,
Mm-hmm.
our friend Justin.
Yes.
I'll say, hey, I like him too.
I keep forgetting he's introduced me to the circle now.
I'm like, hey, I like him too.
We'll have to have him. We'll have to have him on sometime.
He's my
Yeah.
friend too, buddy.
We'll have to have him on sometime. He's got some interesting stories. He cannot watch werewolf movies after dark. He can watch any kind of horror movie except werewolf movies after dark.
Really?
I love werewolf films.
They freak him out. Those are the one movies he cannot watch after dark.
The problem with werewolf stuff for me, though, is no matter what I'm watching, no matter how dark, violent, graphic, I think Teen Wolf.
You know they shot that in only 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's what got... And Michael J. Fox was not famous at all when they filmed that until after an episode, until after Family Ties came out.
The airing of Family Ties, yeah.
And then he got famous, and it was in the last week that they started having girls on the set screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
The director and the producer and the screenwriter and producer, they all had to tell the girls, like, look, you can scream at him and tell him you love him all you want, but do it between our takes. When we say action, just try and be quiet.
Shut up. Yeah.
So it was interesting.
So, all right. Well, we gotta wrap this
I think
episode.
Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet's one of
That's
my
what I
favorites.
think when I see werewolf movies.
I like him, but I think Lon Chaney Jr.
Lon Chaney, yeah. No, we love the old black and whites. That's
Oh, yeah.
one of the reasons why we got into the pulps.
Well, everybody, the whole Frankenstein craze and zombies and stuff, when I watch the one with Robert De Niro or any of the other modern renditions now, like even the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing with the British articulate Frankenstein, I always go back to the Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff, yeah.
I go back to that.
I get-
Just
well,
a flat top.
My
honestly.
favorite horror films are the classic ones.
Oh yeah, people.
Like, some of the newer ones, I'm like, no, that's just gore for gore's sake. I like the scary ones,
like Saw and all that. I don't watch them because I don't like the gore.
yeah, you're just like,
It's like that's not
that's
really
just
scary.
an excuse to throw blood everywhere, you know.
Yeah. If Repo the Genetic Opera
That was gory.
Well, that's-
is gory, but
that's
it's
great.
funny, and
Yeah.
it's not really horror, but it falls under that category because there's gore.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be under horror. It's
That's not-
comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's-
agree.
More dark humor than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, very dark humor. So, all right. Well, I think that's this week.
Yep.
All right, you heard it here from the table. I'm Michael Sanders.
I'm Brandon Noel.
I'm Aileen Noel.
Congratulations again. You heard it from the table.
I said it right.
Listen to a Destiny Comics podcast. Recorded in Hemet, California. Show produced by Michael Sanders. A special thanks to any and all guests on this show.